Piccadilly station update. Let's have a look. Oh, good evening everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly. I wonder what has been happening. Span you around. Well, not a massive amount because I have had a rest this week. I think I needed it. But I've put that little bridge in there now, as you can see from there. And so that's been prompted basically from one of my subscribers, Tony Hancock. So this is for you, Tony, who's mentioned it a few times. So I thought I'll put it in because bless him, he said he was going to go and take some photographs of it, the real thing that is. And so I think I might have beaten you to it, Tony. Sorry about that. But anyway, so that's gone in. Now, I must point out that this bit here is a temporary affair because it would look very odd if I just left it on that little pillar, which I've just put down there. And that will start to form the bottom of the buildings underneath. So obviously I needed to do something to give it the support. So this is just basic. All right. Now, another little surprise for you, if you just bear with me. I've turned the lights off, so this can only mean that's lit as well now. So that's been lit up just in the same way as the rest of the bridge, because it would look a little bit odd if it wasn't completed. So you might think, well, surely that's not the whole video, is it? No, it's not. What I'm actually starting to think about now is the platform canopies. So although I'm not going to go massively far with them, I think there's 3 to do, plus that one for 13-14, which won't be done anything like soon. That won't be done until the extension's gone in, because the platform will be, as I've said before, the platform will be reconfigured. So there's no point in putting a canopy and having to rip it all out again. But that I can do these 3. I think there are 3. I think there's 3. But having a look at this and the actual pictures of the canopies themselves, they're not an easy job because there's some very awkward girder work front and back of each side of the canopy. So there's 4 girders on every canopy. So let's go and have a look at the iPad and I'll show you exactly what I mean, and then I'll explain how I'm going to tackle it. Well, welcome to the computer. It was easier to start this than the iPad actually. Now, this is the canopy we've got here now. And what I'm going to decide to do first is start off with these supports. Now, you can see they're like massive Y shapes. But then, if you notice here, we've got this girder work. Now, if I take you to another image, now you can see there's the girders I've just been explaining. So what have we got here then? Well, we've got this, obviously this structure, and there's like a central support beam which runs underneath. And then the glass canopy actually sits on these 2 rafters, which are girders. So like I said, there's 4 sets of girders on here. So I've got to somehow make those. Now I've got an idea of how to do it. I've got to check it, see if it works. And if it does, it should be fine. But obviously it's going to pose a challenge whichever way I look at it. So my first job then is to make one of these, or to make these girders, and then we'll take it from there. So I'll show you how I do that in a minute. All right, this is an example of what I've done, and I've experimented with different ways of doing it. Now, I'll insert a picture now, but you'll notice that the top part of the canopy actually gets narrower towards the end. They're like very long triangles. So I know you're not going to see it that well in Engage particularly, but I did want to try and replicate that. So I tried to use some of this on the top section and bend it up slightly and then trim it down one end, and it just snapped. Yes, I could have heated it up, but it wasn't going to work because I'd still have to then try and slither off one side of one of the flanges to get it to work. So what I decided to do was to use some strips of plastic card 3mm wide, which is the same width as the width of that. Okay, so that's the overall width, if that makes any sense. And the platform is 50mm wide, so I'm going to put the ruler on there, and the halfway point is obviously there, but I'm going to come 2mm either side to give a flat area. Okay, now that flat area will then help to bond to the post. Okay, does that make sense? But when I do the chamfering bit, I do want to leave a little bit of the edge, so I'm just going to do up to halfway that way, if that makes any sense. Now I'll do one side and then I'll leave you to the imagination on the other. So I'm lining up the ruler to the middle, to the mark that I've just made this way, and also to one of the marks like that. All right, so my next job now is to take some more strips of the 3mm, and I took 2 and I've marked them with those 2 centre marks, and now using my thumbnail just bend them very gently up to create that shape but with a flat bit. And the idea is then that gets glued to this. But you might be thinking, hang on a minute, that's angled up. And yeah, it is. So what I'm going to do with this, again, put my fingernail on there, gently bend it up. I hope it doesn't break. Like that. And thumbnail until you get it about right. Now I have made a master, I say drawing, but that to put against, just to check the angle, to see if the angle is about right. I can get it to be still, because obviously I don't want, no, it's too shallow, so it needs to come a bit more. Like that. Okay, that's pretty much it now. Now the idea is that glue that to the top edge and the bottom edge, and I'm going to be using some of this. Other glues are available. Okay, so I will get that stuck on and I'll show you what I do with it in a minute. Now the next job, I've cut these pieces now to 33mm high, which will allow me to drill a hole through the platform just double check, cut, and a bit of glue on the end like that. Bring the head back in, if you like. Now I'm going to utilize the board, so I'm going to put that so that it's in line. I'll bring that up a bit more. I'm going to put that so it's in line with one of the lines on the board, and then this bit over the middle section, and then I can use one of the other lines to make sure that it goes in at 90 degrees perpendicular, if that makes sense. Then I'm going to put a very heavy weight on that end like that, and then I'm going to use the file, which is a very heavy weight too, and that will just push gently up against. Leave that for about 5 to 10 minutes and it will be set just like those. Okay. As you can see now, we've got all these supports made and painted, including a couple of specialist ones there, which, if you know Manchester Piccadilly, this is one of the electrification masts, and that continues up out the top, which I shall do after. I just wanted to get the support done. It'd be easier to stick the top bit to the roof. But also started sticking these, some extra ones there. There's another specialist one there on the left. But sticking these to this piece here. But so obviously I need to get them all pinned together, if you like. But equally, if I take and show you a picture of the canopies now, you'll see that they're sunken into the roof. So I need to do something about that. All right, if I just take you in a bit, you can see that these supports go through the roof there. And they don't just, the roof just doesn't sit on the top. So I've got to replicate that in some way or another. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Back to the workbench. So as I said, I've got this top piece which will run along the top of the canopy like that as a basic support. And then these sections will go in between to form the spaces. And that way, if I take you down, you can see how that is going to easily replicate the idea of the canopy sticking out through the sides. And then all I need to do then is to create a round on the side of that. Before I get to any of that, is think about the lighting on the canopy, because if I try and do it afterwards, I'm not going to be able to get the wires in, and it will just look a retrofit mess. So I want the wires to run inside the roof. So what I'm going to do first of all is cut these so that they're in pairs. And so there'll be like two sections for each one. Drill a couple of holes, one at either end for each polarity, and then have the black on one side and the red on the other side, and take it from there. And all the wires will then meet up in the middle to a central point or several points, and then one wire will then come down the outside and go into the baseboards. I just thought I'd show you midway, if you like, what I'm doing. So as you can see, I've got these sections with the light cut on. I've now drilled the holes, and then if I turn that over, you can then see the red and black wires running up each side. So what I did, I then split the cable using these wire cutters, very similar to the ones Cottesmore showed from DCC Concepts, that type of thing, but this is a much older design, but nevertheless it still works. So all you do, you put your wire in the between, split the part, and it just makes a little incision into the wire, leaving a bare patch. So I've then just put the wire through, pulled the sheathing off completely, soldered that onto one side, pulled it through and soldered it onto the gap. And then as you can see there, I'm just going to put a bit of insulating tape over the top. And then these sections, these pillars are then glued in and held together with these sections. So you've got a gluing surface all along the side of it and on that end bit there as well. So hopefully between, when they're all sandwiched between these bottom sections, they should be quite secure. Once that's done, I'm then going to wrap each section in card or paper anyway, or something, and cut out each of these sections ready for the lights, so the light can then just shine through. All right, so quick catch up where we are then. So all these are now soldered in, and I've now put these strips on the back, as I said I would, to create this lip on both sides. Now, if you can see here, what I've done is to put a piece of paper which has been printed this sort of beigey sort of grey colour. You probably can't pick that up on the video, but then all I did was put it on the top, press it on to mark the position of the LEDs, and then take it off, cut those out, and then strip a glue down each side and then place it on. And I'm going to do the same thing, mount another piece of this stuff onto a piece of card, and then wrap the card around the top like that. So that will create the lip. I'll show you a picture of what I mean now. There you go. So you can see that all the lights are embedded in the surface, and then you've got this like lip running down both sides. So that's what I'm trying to recreate. There you go. You can see all the valances are on now, and all the pillars or columns are in place. So the only thing I'm going to do now in this video is to go up to the layout and drill holes. I'm not going to show you that. And then I'll just place it in position, and that will do for this video. I'll show you how I put the glazing in and also the little girders in the next video. I think it's getting a bit long for this one. All right. There we are, all in place. Now, some of you may even spot this column down here, which is the column that goes in there. Now, you may have also remember I had two columns there. It was a double column row. What I didn't realise at the time was the double columns only start from here, where this canopy kicks in. It's fairly obvious really when you think about it, but I didn't think about it at the time. So what I've done was I've removed it from there. I've made a bit of a mess of the platform, so that will need to be repaired. And I'm going to cut the column, probably about there, cut the amount out, which is the height of the canopy, and then glue the top bit back on, so it'll become part of the canopy. It's not structural for the actual canopy itself, not with all that bit anyway. But hopefully you can get the idea of where I'm going with that. It was, if I put you there, yeah, it is still a little bit on the tilt, but you know, that's not difficult to adjust. So next stage then is I've got to put a top on this, and then obviously weather that up, and then obviously make the 4 girders that go in front and back of each of these different sections, mount the glazing, and then fit that on, and then hopefully that should be about it. But yeah, there's 1 or 2 bits to still do, as you can appreciate, but it would be nice to get that platform finished, you know, as far as I can, because obviously when I do the extension I'm going to have to cut it and then replace the back end. But there we go. All right, so I'm going to leave this video from there. Oh, one last thing, just so in case anybody wondered, I've put a train in there so you can see that it is going to miss the canopy. It's not going to catch in any way, shape or form, so we should be all right for height there as well. All right, anyway, I am really going to leave the video there. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you again with the next bit, hopefully this weekend if I can get it done, but if not, next weekend. Take care of yourself. Bye bye now. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please do like, subscribe and share, not forgetting to click on that little bell to get regular notifications of any videos I upload. Some other videos are appearing on the screen right now which also might take your interest. Thanks once again, and bye for now.